Rocky Mountain Race Week is over, and man, was it a blast. But look at this. Look at how dirty my car is. That's just from driving home. We went through a pretty gnarly storm that actually kicked up a tornado on our way home, so thankfully made it home unscathed. Got the trailer here. I still haven't unloaded everything. The car is here. Still some things I need to do. I noticed when I got home, I must not have tightened that too well because that's the third flange bolt on the turbo. Oh well, I grabbed a new one. I lost the nut on the drive, so we got a stage or a grade 8 bolt and then a locking nut, so get that replaced. So what's race week like? For those of you that came out to see me, thank you, but I want to talk a little bit about just what race week is like and about and what to expect if you ever do race week. So what is race week like? Man. So if you haven't watched my playlist on Rocky Mountain Race Week 2021, I think you should. I think the leading up to it, plus the struggles we went through on the road, plus the euphoria of finishing the event, it runs the gamut of all of the emotions you could possibly feel. I don't think there is one single emotion that throughout that 7 days between the driving and between the heat and between the racing that doesn't encompass all of the emotions you could possibly ever feel through the whole week. So the biggest thing is going to depend on what kind of car you bring into race week. Like, what are you driving to race week? Like this, obviously, got to put together shortly before race week. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of work that I had done before. I've got 3 kids, a wife, I run a business, I've got employees, and on top of that, I've got a car that I'm trying to get ready. So this was back burner stuff. So I had to at some point make it a priority before I left. I had a small fire before I went to race week, so I had to put this first for a few days before I went, just so I could make sure that it was ready to go. And it still wasn't 100% tested. So I guess what I'm saying is, what kind of vehicle are you bringing with? If you've got a brand new Mustang and all you did is throw a blower on it and you're planning on running 10s or 11s, then, by all means, you're probably going to need some work on it, but it's going to be fairly reliable. It's got the air conditioning. It's got all the creature comforts. You'll have minimal stuff that you have to do to it. But if you've got an older car that you've had to put a lot of time and money into yourself and you didn't have time to test, it's a hell of a lot different story. So I really feel like your experience on race week is going to depend a lot upon A, what you like to do, but also B, what you bring with you. If you're not the type of guy that loves thrashing, that doesn't let anything stop you at all, like if you're the guy, if you're like me, and there's no way in hell you're going to let something besides a blown engine, hell even that, if somebody had one, I'd put it in. I'm not willing to let anything keep me from finishing anything in my life. There's nothing I'm willing to let go undone. I'm going to make it through it. I'm going to find a way, and that's how I am. If that's not how you are, you're probably not going to have a lot of fun bringing an old rickety POS like mine on race week. It's just not going to be that fun for you. But if you're the type of guy that enjoys racing and you've got a newer car and it's super reliable and really tested, it's going to be a hell of a lot different story. Now, I've done 2 race weeks in a row, and I've finished both of them, and I didn't get in the money, but I had a blast doing it. It was a great time. I met a lot of cool people. There's always stuff that you're going to find that goes wrong with your car on race week that you're going to have to fix. You're either going to have a blown tire or something. There was a guy that I met that ran over a lawn chair on his way from Kearney to Kansas. He ran over a lawn chair. It punctured a hole in his gas tank or his fuel cell. It is what it is. Like, his car was super reliable. That happened on the last day, and he had to figure out how to get to Kansas. You're going to have stuff happen, and it could be stuff that you don't even see coming. Maybe you hit a deer. I don't know. Maybe you hit a bird, and it goes through your radiator. There's 100 different things that can happen to you on race week. You're driving a car, in my case, I drove 6.5 hours just to get to Kansas. And then I drove 1,700 miles on race week, and then I had to drive 6.5 hours back to where I live. So I think it was about 2,700 miles round trip, or no, 2,200, something like that. It was a lot of miles. A lot of miles for this car when it usually sees 300-400 a year. So it's just it's a big step for a car that's not meant to go that far. I mean, you're talking about taking a car that goes a quarter mile at a time and driving it 5, 6, 7, 8 hours at a time. We drove this thing through the mountains. We drove this thing through 107-degree heat. The only issues that I had with this were turbo flange gaskets and header flange gaskets. That's it. That's all I had. I take that back. There's a couple other odds and ends that I had issues with, but it was super easy stuff. It was easy to overcome. We still raced. We didn't miss a day. We fixed the issues that we had, and we made it through it. So what is race week like? Well, if you have a car like mine, we don't have air conditioning. We don't have cruise control. The radio is all right. This is meant to be a race car. It's not meant to be a car that sees 10, 12, 13,000 miles a year. It was fun, but it's going to test you. It's going to test your sanity most of all. If you're driving in 107-degree heat inside of a 86 Mustang that's got a turbo and a 414 and no cruise control, no air conditioning, it's just hot, right? So what's race week like? Well, you could look at it a couple of different ways. I could tell you that it was hot, that it was miserable, that it was grueling, that it was challenging. It was rewarding. It was one of the most rewarding things that I've ever accomplished in my life. You know why? Because after 7 days of being on the road, after 7 days of all of the struggles, we made it. We made it through it. We made it to the end. We finished the event, and we had a blast doing it. We met super cool people. The people that put the event on are super awesome. And it's an amazing event. If I could make 2.0 happen, I would do that also this year. It's just not in the cards. I've got too much work going on. You have to have a good attitude, though. You can't go through an event like that with an attitude that says, oh my gosh, today was hot. Yeah, you're on a racetrack. You're on asphalt, and it's going to be hotter than whatever the temperature outside is. It just is what it is. It's how it's going to be. Now, unless you've got an air-conditioned car and you're going to sit in the pits, you're going to idle that thing with the air conditioning on the whole time, it's going to be hot. There's going to be some uncomfortability. There's going to be things you have to overcome, but it is probably one of the most rewarding things that you'll ever do in your life. If I could take anybody and throw you through race week and show you how much work it is, but how rewarding it is at the end, I would. I wish all of you could go through it. And I hope at some point in your life you get the chance to, because it is an amazing event. It is super cool. The amount of people you meet, the camaraderie at the events, it's a really cool thing to do. Race week is amazing, but if you go into it thinking you're not going to have struggles or you're not going to have something come up, you're delusional. You're driving these cars in atmospheres and environments that they typically don't see all the time, especially for a lot of these higher horsepower cars. You've got 9, 8, 7-second cars that are just doing incredible things on the track, and then you've got them driving through the mountains towing trailers. There was people that, I don't know how many transmissions they trashed, or torque converters, or tires, crazy things. There was a girl whose tire flew off of her car as she was driving. Went 60 corn rows in. They fixed it, and they got it to the track and finished the event. It doesn't get any better than that. If you guys have a chance to do Rocky Mountain Race Week, do it. I highly recommend it. It is going to kick your butt. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be hot, but it's worth it. All right, guys, enough of me rambling. I don't like doing videos where I just sit and talk the whole time. We'll talk to you guys later. More videos to come. I've got a pretty cool kit that I'm going to be putting on my car this week. Pretty sure you know what that is. If you don't know what that is, it's a coilover kit. You should know what that is if you follow my channel. All right, guys, drive fast, take chances. We'll see you next time.